Um, okay, today's webinar is about fundraising from the field, and I recognize that maybe um, all a majority of you or all of you are on the field right now. I don't think all of you are on the field. If you're in a secure location, we are not using language appropriate for a secure location on this webinar. So if that is not comfortable for you, we will have a recording available. I just wanted to let you know that up front. But I am Russell. I am the CEO at Tailored Fundraising, and um, I am in Nashville, Tennessee. We also have Deb, who's been coaching with us for 13 years. How long is it? 13.
13. Mm-hmm.
And she is in Atlanta. And then we have our operations director, Jessica, who is calling from Kansas City, which is a lovely town, by the way.
I
Last time I
agree.
was there, it's like Oklahoma City, where I'm from. It's really family
Okay.
friendly, right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's a city, but not too big. It's nice.
Oklahoma City's downtown is super family friendly. Anyway, I digress. Um, okay, so a little bit of some instructions. One last time, I'll say we're going to be talking and interacting with you. We want to hear from you. That's what the chat is for. If you haven't already, please go to chat and select everyone instead of host and panelist. Nick, looks like you may be on host and panelist. Laura Graham on host and panelist. I'm just scrolling to see who else needs to change it. David Groton on host and panelist. Scott Moffitt. Okay, I'm not going to go through everybody, but everyone go check to make sure you're on everyone instead of host and panelist. Also, you'll see a questions. What it's called? Is there a questions place
Q&A.
on here?
Yeah, it's
Q&A.
Q&A.
That's what it's called. Okay, there's a Q&A button, and that is for questions. Don't put your questions in the chat. They might get lost. So put them in the Q&A. We'll either answer them live or Jessica will answer them, just message you back. Just depends on what's necessary on it or if it's helpful for everyone. Let's see. Today we're going to be talking about how to maximize your current contact list and tips for raising funds from the field. That doesn't sound like a lot, but we are going to be covering quite a bit. So we're going to need to get started. Is there anything that I am missing? I don't think so, right?
Right?
Um, I I designed the slides, so if you love them, um, I'm not for hire, but I just want credit. Okay, Deb, you're up.
Okay. So I don't know about you guys. Do you remember when you first started fundraising? Were you thinking of it as a ministry or were you thinking of it as a means to get to your ministry? I for sure was the latter. I initially kind of viewed it as something that I had to do and just really couldn't wait for it to be over so that I could finally do like the real work of the ministry that God was calling me to. But there's a lot of things that I know now that I didn't realize at that time. And one of those things is that as long as we are in full-time service, fundraising never really ends. We're never done with fundraising. But more importantly, I realized that ministry doesn't start when we get to the field. It actually starts when we're in the process of building this partnership team. So we at Tailored truly believe that fundraising is ministry. It's not a distraction from the work, but it's actually part of the work that God has called you to. And that needs to be made a priority, just like your work on the field. So if we look at fundraising as just something that we have to do to keep us on the field, honestly, truly, we really believe this, that you're going to miss the blessings of true partnerships. Because fundraising, it's at its core, it's about building relationships. And when we're building these partnerships, we are truly building a partnership. We're not just collecting transactions. And so building relationships deserves our time. It takes our time and it deserves our time. So we want to encourage you to make some real space for this on your calendar consistently, not just when it's urgent. So when we speak with veterans, though almost universally, that primary challenge to being fully funded is making time to focus on those relationships and to focus on partnership development. So we all know, right, on the field that life is super full. We have multiple responsibilities. We have unpredictable schedules. We have cultural complexity and the constant pull of the tyranny of the urgent, right? Whatever is urgent today. And these things make it really genuinely difficult for even the most disciplined person to stay consistent with partnership development. And honestly, a lot of the veterans that we work with admit to having zero plan. Like they just have no plan at all. So that's what we hope to help you with today. Our goal is to give you some practical ideas, but also give you a framework that fits your life and your circumstances wherever you are in the world and whatever season you're in so that you can have a clearer picture of what your next steps are going to look like.
100%. So where do we start? I know a challenge for uh, a lot of our clients has been I don't have enough contacts. But once we connect, we usually discover that they have a whole list of contacts, actually several lists of contacts. And one of them is their newsletter list. I mean, to us, we've been coaching for 13, 15 years, and it makes sense to us that that's the first place we'd look. I do want to know, we're going to have a poll question, right, Jessica? Yep. And the question is, how many people are on your newsletter list? Okay, Deb. Oh, I can see the results, but can you see the results?
I can see him about to come in, but I would say over 750 for sure. I'm thinking.
For you think that most people have over 750?
Yeah.
I come on.
Veterans, you don't think?
Well, actually, I know because I apparently I'm the host and I can see the results as they come
Oh.
in. So
The ones I talked to, some guy yesterday had 1,600 that I talked to. That's a lot.
1,600.
I
He's
know, right?
lying.
It's like, well,
Sorry.
that's okay. So that's what I
Okay.
was going off of. I was going off of his yesterday.
Okay. Do you want to publish that, Jessica? Share the results. Okay. So only 10% had. Well, only 6% had over 750, Deb. But I think the 100 to 750, I like that's the majority. You know, that's a that's not a bad list, right?
Yeah,
So
and I think it
with
depends on
the
the
list,
organization too. Like if you speak at a lot of churches, the lots of people jump on,
that's true.
you
That's
know.
true, but and that's great. Now, if you're those of you on the webinar who just filled out this poll with that list of names in mind, think about how many of those names on the list, on your newsletter list, are currently partnering. Get a number in your mind. How many of those are currently partnering? Okay, typically when we ask this question, you might identify 20 to 40 people from that list who are current active financial partners. So if that's the case for you, that means we've automatically identified dozens of people that you could talk to about financial partnership, if not hundreds. And for actually most of you on the call, it's going to be hundreds. So at this point, people usually have a few reasons why they don't want to or haven't reached out to them. So what possible reasons might people be hesitant to reach out to this list? Actually, go to the chat and tell us why you or others might be hesitant to reach out to your newsletter list um, to invite them into partnership. Okay, financial strains. What are you seeing, Deb?
I'm seeing season of life or look going, I don't even know who they are. We hear that all the time. I have
Right.
no idea who they
They've
are.
already said they can't commit. That's reasonable. They're just not getting answers. That's yeah.
Or not a
Monica,
close
we
relationship.
just have a no response. Yeah.
Fear I
I
haven't
need to
done good enough.
organize myself better. We're going to talk about organization. So that's great.
Hmm.
Financial constraints on their part, I'm assuming. Haven't talked to them in a while. Already asked and re-asked. Okay, well, there's that. Um, so let's see. Those are all really valid answers. So we're going to talk through some of those hesitations and share some information on how to move through them and still approach people. So the most common one is they get my newsletter and they know I'm raising funds, so they would have already given if they were interested. And so first, we're assuming people read our newsletters. So we have an average newsletter open rate of 40%, and we can't. Um, and so that's 40%. And we're not sure. We know that not everyone's reading it. And usually, when we talk about a financial appeal in a newsletter, which I don't recommend usually, it's going to be at the end. So you're assuming that the 40% of people who opened it read your newsletter to the end and saw your line about a financial appeal. So second, they're not personally invited. Um, have you heard the saying, everyone's ask is no ask? An appeal sent to the masses leaves people with the impression that, oh, this went out to 300 people. I'm sure one of those people will do something. When we say, let us know if you're interested, and everyone knows it's going out to 300 people versus, Mr. and Mrs. Miller, would you be interested? That's a question that begs a response, not just an FYI we're putting out there for people to maybe see and consider. Those mass appeals, we are fans of those for potentially for projects, but fans of those definitely for a year-end appeal, because there's a culture of that specifically in the US, and I know definitely other countries as well. So people may not make the connection that they can make a difference with their individual partnership, and even more, you really haven't not specifically communicated to them that you want them to consider being a partner. So when we make things personal, we make it clear that they are important to us and we are thinking about them specifically. And these are people who already, this newsletter list, they're already connected to the work and they've shown interest in hearing about what's going on. There's a lot more we can do to transition them into partnership instead of just expecting them to do the work of reaching out to you.
Yeah, we really need to take a leadership position. I love that term, viewing yourself not as a missionary, but as a leader. And I feel like as a leader, it's your job. For people who've been coached with me before, we talk about like driving your bus and making sure that you provide good leadership for people to be able to get on your bus and stay on your bus. So one of the things that I talk about with my clients a lot is segmenting. And that's what all of us, we talk about segmenting. If you've been with Tailored for any length of time, that's something that we love to do because this is a specific uh, um, reach out point to a specific person. So we want to customize these per group. So we're going to segment our newsletter list into 4 groups. So let's take a look at the first group, segment A. So segment A is your current partners. These are the people we already know are interested in a financial partnership because they're partnering, but there's still more that we can invite them to do. One of the first things that we talk about with people is inviting them to consider deepening their investment by increasing their giving. I love that language. You deepen your investment by increasing your giving. If someone's partnered with you for at least a year, it's completely acceptable to show them your gratitude, to thank them first, and then to ask them to consider deepening their investment by increasing their partnership for the coming year. And I know that sounds crazy, but so much can change in a year in your partner's life or in their heart. You might also ask them to connect you with others in their network that might be interested in the ministry. That's called advocacy. So they can do that. Maybe you have people who are currently partnering with you that you don't actually know, like we talked about, we saw in the chat box. We had a client for whom this was the case. He had multiple churches that he had spoken at over the years, and he had multiple people that began giving, and he had no idea who some of the people were or even how they had gotten connected. So we talked about it. We talked about the importance of him reaching out to them personally to, number one, thank them, and also to connect them to the impact of their partnership. And not most importantly, but very importantly, to actually connect with them to figure out who they are. Who is your family? Tell me about your life. Tell me how you got connected. He was amazed to learn some of these stories. So he set a goal of connecting with a certain number each week. And despite his fear of this being potentially awkward, because we all know, super awkward, but he made those calls. And like I said, he was surprised to hear not just how they got connected with the work, but he was really surprised that these people actually cared about him and cared about his family. And he was really encouraged. And he actually told me at the end that he was really glad that he had done it because the calls were actually fun for him. So don't let that fear paralyze you and stop you from doing that. The fear of it being awkward, just reach out and connect with people. All right, segment B. These are people who've given in the past. They're either one-time givers or maybe they're even ongoing givers. This is a great group to connect with because they've already shown interest in financially partnering with us at some point. And the greatest indicator of someone's inclination to give is if they've given before. So some of them may not have been aware that they could partner monthly, so they gave a one-time gift. Someone asked one of our clients if they could do a large one-time gift, but instead of automatically saying yes, she let them know that monthly or annual partnership would help her more and asked if they could break that amount down into smaller monthly gifts, and they actually said yes. They wanted to be helpful, but they needed her to help them best help her. And then you've got others who previously partnered but stopped giving due to a credit card error. And literally, you guys, they don't even know. They don't know that their credit card expired, and they were never followed up with. So you could ask them if they would be interested in starting again. Or it could be maybe life got difficult for them and maybe they had to stop their partnership due to, different circumstances that they had going on that were difficult. But, time has passed, if over a year has passed, their difficult circumstances may have passed as well, and they may be open to starting again. So whatever the situation, it could really be a good time for you to check back on them, see how they're doing, care for them, and then invite them to consider an ongoing partnership again.
All right. Segment C is everyone who hasn't financially partnered in any capacity, but you'd like to ask them to consider it. And even if you've reached out before and they said no, it can be worth reaching out again if at least a year has passed, which actually reminds us of a resource that we wanted to share. It's a great article by Michael Rosen that addresses overcoming the 9 types of no's we hear. So Jessica's going to put that in the chat. Check it out. It's really insightful, but basically, no doesn't always mean no, or it doesn't mean no forever. So reach back out to those people and see if now is the right time for them to consider a partnership. Segment D is the unknowns. This covers the people who you aren't sure if you should ask, either because of you haven't maintained a personal relationship or quite honestly have no idea who they are. There are 2 approaches to this. The first one is the most common and we don't recommend. We think I am asking them for money, but I shouldn't do it right away. So I'm going to try to build a relationship before I ask them for money. So what do? We send a message to reconnect, and the very next message is talking about financial partnership. And how would that feel to you? This can actually backfire on us. It seems logical, but in the end, it just kind of feels like a bait and switch, making the initial message feel less genuine. And if our mindset is about getting money out of people, regardless of your approach, it will never feel natural. I think, we're lying to ourselves if we think reconnecting will make things less awkward for them. In reality, this is really about making us feel more comfortable. So that brings up the question, do we need a relationship with you to know if they want to be a part of building God's kingdom? And I think, the answer many times is no. And I say that, but we actually do have a relationship with each other in Jesus, right? We are brothers and sisters in Jesus. And I think that's what makes this different than normal fundraising for a nonprofit, is we do have a relationship with everybody, even if we've never met them before. And to be quite honest, I've never thought about it that way. That just came to mind. And maybe that's why inviting people that we've never met actually works, is because we do have a relationship with them through Jesus. So if we saw this, that's asking as a gift to people, we would think, would we think this hard about contacting them? because we think it's about money and we're making it about us, we become anxious. Palms get sweaty, mouth gets dry, we can't sleep at night. You know the routine. And we create these impossible, elaborate strategies that end up making people feel used. It's no good, right? But if it's about ministering to other people and inviting them into a blessing, it suddenly becomes much more simple. So, what is that simple version? Just come right and ask if they'd be interested in hearing more about partnering. Saying something like, hey, here's this exciting ministry and the needs we are addressing, and we're looking for people to partner through intercession and giving. Would you be interested in meeting to hear more about this? It's easy to believe that this will catch people off guard. They'll think, I haven't heard from you in 5 years. Now you're asking me for money. But in our experience, it's taught us that this is often just a lie from the enemy. So just ask God who you need to be talking to. Ask yourself, who needs to hear about this ministry? Not who do I think will give? Who needs to hear about this ministry? In addition, we talk about this on different webinars called Sweeping Away Objections. If you haven't talked to somebody in a long time, your first message to them, or whether that's a phone call or a text, probably a text or email, to say, hey, I know we haven't talked in 5 years, but you came to mind when I was thinking about this exciting ministry, and I wanted to tell you about it. Or I know we've never met. Or I know, here's what I know. I know that, we know each other. We just only know each other through my parents. But here's this ministry, and you came to mind when I wanted to share it with somebody. Those are called sweeping away objections. Let's see. The other people who fit into segment D are the ones you genuinely don't know. And kind of we talked about that just now with these sweeping away objections. You've met them through, or they were given to you through a mutual contact or in church. And still the same, connect with them via text or email, follow up. And we're going to talk about the process of this, but hop on a video call, get to know them, get to know their family, and, about what they do and what they love to give to, et cetera. And just deepen that connection.
Yeah, I want to share a brief story. I was watching a session of one of our coaches, and the week prior to this session, they were asking, like, how do we do this with people that we don't know? There's our neighbors, we don't know them. Should we first like have a connection meal with them and like build a relationship? And then after that, maybe we should invite them over and invite them to partner. And so they talked about it with their coach, and they decided maybe those two things can happen at the same time, connection and invitation at the same time, because it did feel bait and switchy. So
Yeah.
anyway, week came by. So they met with this couple, they had dinner with the couple, and they were like, this happened at the same time. And you'll never believe the amount that this couple came on for. Try to just guess what they came on for.
$500 a month.
1,000.
A month?
$1,000 a month. Yes.
Amazing.
Amazing, right? And they said to their coach, we didn't think that this was possible, but now we understand that it feels authentic and genuine to connect with them and do the invitation to partner in the same conversation. So
Right.
don't be tempted to feel like you have to earn the right to be heard. Invite people, consider it a blessing, and let those people decide. Okay. All right. So our lists are segmented. Now we're ready to reach out, but what's the process to actually get people involved? So we recommend a 5-step approach. The first thing that we're going to do is to create awareness personally, individually. Remember back to our previous point. This isn't a letter that's going out to the masses. This is a correspondence that's about the ministry that's going to pique their interest, kind of like a little bit of a movie trailer. And it's also going to ask them to consider the opportunity to partner in making an impact, because we never want to get into a meeting with someone where that's the first time they're hearing about that. So it's best to kind of be upfront. So we do this in a short letter, whether that's a hard copy physically in the mail, or whether that's an email, or it even could be a Facebook message. It could be a LinkedIn message that clearly states the mission and the vision of the ministry, and the opportunity that we're looking for people to partner in prayer and partner in giving. And it also asks them if they're interested in a meeting. So for this step, we're going to tailor our messaging and our communication to each group. So with segment A, your current partners, you could say something like this. So thank you for your partnership in bringing the good news to university students. So 10 students are now coming regularly to our campus meetings. That's awesome. Would you consider meeting together to catch up and to also discuss how you might deepen your partnership by increasing your investment so that together we can share Christ with even more students this year? All right, with segment B, your past partners, you could say something like, thank you for your previous partnership in bringing hope to the lost in Europe. 6 new believers were baptized and many more seekers are coming to church. Would you be interested in meeting together to catch up and discuss how you might partner again for the coming year? And then with segments C and D, the people who haven't given in the past, you could say, thank you for your interest in what God is doing in the Czech Republic. I'd love to connect with you and give you a personal update on the work and also spend time getting to know you and your family. I'd also like for you to pray about becoming a partner in the work in Asia, through the Czech Republic, through prayer and financial partnership. Would you be interested in getting together to hear more about this? So, a vital part of the ministry and partnership development is actually the follow-up. So remember, people are really, really busy, and it's your job as the leader, as the bus driver, to lead them through this process. So make sure that you end every correspondence throughout this process by setting the expectation that you're going to follow up with them. So remember, we said, would you be interested in meeting together? I will follow up with you to see if that's something you'd be interested in doing. And then be true to your word. Make sure that you say something like, I'll follow up with you in a few days to see if you'd be interested in a meeting. I look forward to talking with you. And then you actually have to do the follow up. So a few days after your letters or your messages arrive, we're going to do something that we call gauging interest. That's step 2. So we recommend that you do this by actually picking up the phone. I know that's really scary. Picking up the phone and calling people to ask to see if they're interested in meeting with you to hear about how they might be involved again through prayer and financial partnership. Because what if they didn't read your letter? You want to make sure that you mention that so that they know what they're coming to. And remember, this is about building relationships. So we actually do encourage you to go the extra mile, be bold, pick up the phone if at all possible. Now, I know, like with the younger generation, maybe they wouldn't respond to phone calls, so maybe not with a phone call. But for most people, I would say pick up the phone if it's possible. Who doesn't love a phone call from overseas, right? And we've got all of these multiple free apps or cheap technology apps to make phone calls. So there's really no excuse not to do that. So what calling apps do you guys use? Share in the chat what you guys have found to be successful calling apps from overseas. Let's see what people have to say. Anybody got anything over there? Let me.
There was a question, Deb, about not having people's phone numbers. What do we do?
Oh, in the chat. You guys try to put your questions in the Q&A box too, because it's really hard to see them in the chat. They may get they
Yeah,
may get lost. Are we going to take a pause right here to answer some questions?
just that one.
Just that one. I don't
Um,
even see it. Where is it?
it's just she doesn't have phone numbers, so you know
Yeah, how
what
can you
about
see that?
Facebook
Yeah,
messaging and like gauging
absolutely.
interest that
Sure,
way?
you can. Absolutely.
Yeah,
You can send a private message through Facebook Messenger. You can send a private message through LinkedIn. And you can also do it through email. There's so many platforms. WhatsApp is a great one too. So any of those messaging apps can be helpful. And message if you have a phone, Messenger is absolutely. Oh, well, you don't have the phone number. Yeah. So any of those messaging apps are good. And the
yeah,
other thing that you could do is to reach out to somebody that you know has their contact information
right.
and ask them if they have their contact information. So,
Right.
okay, so people are using WhatsApp, people are using Signal. Zoom is another way. Wi-Fi calling works on phones. Text Now. I've never heard of Text Now. Have you heard of Text Now? I've never heard of that one. Um, yeah. So those are great resources. Thanks, Shell, for putting those up there. Okay. So if they don't answer, we encourage you to leave a voicemail and then switch to following up via all of these different apps, whether it's email, text, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Signal, all of the things, whatever options you have every 3 days for a couple of weeks. And then maybe you switch to once a month. For those who are interested in connecting with you more, we set up a time to meet with them, which is amazing. And then we move to the next step. That third step is called evaluation. And this is where you're going to actually share your presentation with them. You're creating a space to talk about the mission, the needs of the people that you're serving, your vision for this people group, and your strategy, the solution here. This is done best face to face, whether that's in person or whether that's over a video chat. This is where you're going to tell them, you're gonna really discuss the needs of the people. We talk a lot about sharing about the villain because the hero is only as great as the villain is bad. So you really want to share some stories here that really will help people to understand the challenges of the people that you're serving, what they face. And then we want to then share our vision and our hopes and our dreams for these people, and then be able to share a strategy, a solution that helps to meet those needs. And then if we have some stories of impact where we see God changing people's lives through the ministry, we definitely want to share those as well, because those can be also motivational for people to want to join in what God is actually doing on the field. So we do all that, and then we move right on in that same meeting, we move right on into step 4, which is inviting them to partner. And remember, we're not asking people to support you. We're not asking people to feed your family. What we're inviting people into is investing in the kingdom and into joining God in what he is doing. So whether it's an initial invitation to partner with someone who has never partnered with you before, or whether it's an increased ask, we always want to tie that invitation to the impact that their investment could make, or the impact that it has made, by asking a clear question that's easy to respond to with a yes or no to partnerships. So, for example, in order to bring the hope of the Father to leaders across Asia, we're looking for 20 people to partner at $100 a month. Would you be one of those people? So this isn't telling people you hope that they're going to partner with you, or even asking them to consider it. They're meeting with you because they're already interested, they're already considering it. So this needs to be a question that leads to a yes or no to partnership. So it can be easy at this point to think, okay, I'm done, this is it. But there's one more final step here. We want to get them involved, because remember, this is about relationship, right? So initially, this means we've got to help them, drive the bus and get them signed up, lead them through that process of signing up, which can take just as much follow-up as it took to actually get the meeting. So don't stop leading them through that process. But so getting them signed up, that is just the beginning of involvement. In the long run, this is keeping them involved by managing this ongoing relationship with them, that invites them to pray, that invites them to advocate for you by introducing you to others, even using their spiritual gifts on the team. You guys, there are people, especially like if you're stateside, there are people who have gifts of hospitality or generosity who want to bake cookies or smoke pork butts. We had one guy smoke pork butts for like the initial on-campus meeting with students. We have had people who open up their lake homes for retreats and things. People want to use the gifts that they've been giving, so invite them to do so. And so what we see is the most committed partners are the ones who actually feel a part of the work and who feel a sense of ownership of it, and they feel tied to the success of the mission.
Amazing. The next thing we're going to talk about um, is making a plan. And Jessica, I'm going to skip part of this section and go straight to the poll question. We're going to talk about two things. One is how much do we need to raise, and then how do we get organized? So first, I want you to think about how much an additional monthly funding do you want to raise? And we're going to take that as a poll question and see what people say. I'm interested to hear how much per month. And I don't really have a guess on this because there's not really any rhyme or reason necessarily to how much people need to raise. But
I was thinking it might be somewhere between 500 and 1,000. I don't know. That's my guess.
the majority.
That's what I was going to say, but I
Yeah,
don't think
I
it's
would have said
working
that
out that way.
too. That's not what it's working out to be.
No, it's not.
Do you see it? You don't see the results yet, do you?
I do.
It's not working out to be like, oh, you do? It's not working out to be
Yeah,
like that at all.
it's not. It is not.
Um, so I think almost everybody, 47 of 57 of you have answered the poll question. We'll give it like 10 seconds. Maybe not even 10 seconds. I think everyone's done. Okay, let's end the poll and share the results. 64% of you need to raise more than $2,000 a month. That's significant. And so I'm really glad you're on this call. And the majority is anywhere between 500 to 2,000 plus, right? So let's do some calculations. So I actually, it would be great if you had something to write with. I'm going to walk us through some calculations here, the math of it. So it's obviously important to know where you need to start, what you want to, this is the number to know before, as part of really starting to make a plan. So it's going to be a little bit tedious, but we're going to kind of walk through a formula to help identify how many partners you need. And the first number is how much an additional monthly funding you need to raise. So in this example, we're going to say $1,000 a month. So next, what is the average amount your monthly partners are giving? For example, $50 a month. That's what our average is. That's really low. If that's your average, we need to talk. Now, we're going to do the math. $1,000 a month divided by 50 means we're going to need 20 partners. Again, if you're averaging $50 a month, so that's the total. I should have changed that number. So go ahead, take 30 seconds to do the math, or 10 seconds, do the math you need for your specific needs. So what you think your average is, just kind of guess at your average. So how much you need divided by average. That means how many partners you probably need. Not always. It depends on who you're talking to and what your plan shakes out to be. But now our question is, do we have all the partners we need? Now, statistically speaking, and Dad, correct me on some of this formula if it's not right, but half of the people you reach out to will partner in some way. So that means you will need to reach out to twice the number of potential partners you need in order to find your full partnership team. For example, in this example, you need 40 names on the list. Okay, so let me qualify that. At Tailored, we have not only this very specific process, but of the communication progression, but we have a very specific way on how to do each step, and that's how we get these numbers. So if you're not getting these numbers as far as like how many people I need to reach out to get to how many partners I need, then we should be talking. So you contacted 40 people, you have 20 people who are interested in meeting. You've communicated well ahead of time, and these people are aware that this is about partnerships, like financial partnership. So you can expect almost all of these to be in a partnership of some form, okay? Because they know that's why you're meeting, and they said, yes, I'm interested in a financial partnership. And, we ask that, we qualify that, and gauge their interest in a very specific ways. So we make sure that that's the case. Okay, now let's take a look at timing of this. Let's talk about a deadline, a firm date or desired date that you need to have your funds raised by. For example, our deadline might be mid-October, which is 4 months away. So 20 meetings divided by 4 months equals 5 meetings per month. So if you don't have a firm deadline, which by the way, deadlines are great for fundraising, not just for you, but also for the people you're talking to. Let's say I can have 3 meetings a week. If I need to have 20 meetings and I'm having 3 meetings every week, our math shows it will take me 7 weeks to reach fully funded. Is that right? 5 meetings per month. Okay. Yeah, I
No, I'm
guess so.
saying if you didn't have a deadline and you decided that you wanted to just do three
Oh,
meetings a week,
got it,
then
got it, got it. Okay.
that's totally
So let's take another, few seconds to, um, for you to work that out. Okay. While you're doing that, let me just say at the beginning of this webinar, I said I designed these slides and I would like credit for it. About halfway through the webinar, I remember that I did design the slides, but Jessica had to take like 2 or 3 hours to fix them afterwards. So I think we should just give Jessica the credit. And if I could see her face right now, I'm sure she'd be smiling. Well,
I'm
she knows that's the
laughing.
truth.
It's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Russell loves to take credit. That's a good trait. I don't really, though, actually. I was just being funny when I said it. Okay, so we have those numbers. Hopefully, and a lot of times people show up to this kind of webinar and actually haven't thought through these numbers. So this kind of gives you a starting point. Now I want to talk about getting organized. Now, you can organize through a spreadsheet. We have also, I really haven't seen a donor management system that, and we've used spreadsheets for the last 15 years to organize our communication progression and our plan. And because we never really found a donor management system that you could actually plan all these steps in and see them all together. So a couple of months ago, I sat down and I created an app for that, and I just wanted to show it to you real quick so that you can see that it's available to you if you think it would be helpful. And I'm going to share my screen, and it's called the Tailored Planner. Here's me. Here. Can y'all see that? Jessica, Zed? Can you see it? Okay. This is the planner. And this is actually just the dashboard. We call it the Today view. And it shows how much funding you have coming in currently, how much you've raised, what your goal is, obviously you're inputting this information, what your gift breakdown is. But what we talk about in planning is this. So these are how many people are in your awareness stage, how many people are in the interest phase, how many people are in the evaluation phase, et cetera. And so you can see where everyone is in each stage, okay? And then you have a list every day of who you need to be reaching out to. So it organizes really well. We also send out waves. So we might send out 5 communications this week or 10 this week. And we just schedule those and we call them waves, and you can schedule them in here. This is not sending anything out, but it's just logging to keep you on track. It's just a really great way to keep organized of where everyone is in the process. And we just wanted to make this available to you and to anyone, really. You can upload your giving history in here. And so everything will just upload automatically, make it really easy to do that. Or it's also connected to Donor Hub. I know there's so many people, you can connect your account to Donor Hub. So this is available for you. I won't go through how it all works, but this is an easy way to track. It's $12 a month, so it's really reasonable for a season or for the length of your fundraising. And so you can just go to planner.tailored.fund and you can sign up there if you want. Let's see.
Russell, quick question about that. Someone's asking if it can serve as a CRM, which I believe it cannot, right?
It can. It does hold all of your contact information.
Okay.
If there's another more specifically what you mean by that, or what you hope to get out of a CRM.
It doesn't track continuous monthly giving though.
Correct. Yeah. It doesn't hold your giving history.
Yeah.
But when you import your giving history, it reads it and does what it needs to with that without storing all of it. So, and you're going to put a link in there. Yeah. planner.tailored.fund. And we use this at Tailored to coach our clients. Also, if you're a coach on this, there's actually, you'll see on the landing page there's a coach option where you can connect to everyone's planner that you are coaching. And there's a specific coach view that you can coach from. So if you're a coach and you think that would be helpful, also we can create an organizational dashboard for a whole organization if that's something that would be helpful for your organization as well. I think let's see, do we want to do reflection? Let's do reflection first. What do you think, Deb?
Sounds like a good plan.
Okay.
So we'd love for you to put in the chat. Let's just kind of reflect on some of the content that we've shared and what we've experienced today. We want to know from you in the chat, what's something that's been helpful for you in this webinar? And, some of you guys, while you're doing this, may be thinking, it was super helpful, but I really would like to get some help with this. Our vision at Tailored is for every life to be transformed by the gospel. And it's our mission to coach missionaries to build these financial partnerships to fuel the spread of the gospel. So all of our coaches, we've all fundraised, we've all been where you are. We're passionate about coming alongside you in this partnership development journey. So Jessica's going to put a link in the chat for you to even schedule a discovery call with Russell to see how working with a tailored coach can help you reach your goals. And especially if you need to raise $2,000 a month or more, I would highly, highly, highly encourage you to meet with us and let us coach you through this process. All right, so let's look at some of the things that you guys have said. How to start a conversation with someone that you don't know very well or don't know at all. How to calculate, doing the math. The math is great. Wording for communication. I know, right? Wording helps so much. Oh, I love this. Being reminded that fundraising is a ministry. Yes. Love, love, love it. The model communication prompts were helpful. Great little scripts makes it less intimidating. I feel for me, coming from a Latino background and having recently made the decision to serve full-time, has helped me change my mentality on how to do the ask. Amen. It's inviting people to be a part of the impact and part of the ministry. Love that. I'm so glad that the Holy Spirit put that on your heart, Monica. That's great. Okay, why don't we spend some of the rest of the time with Q&A? So I know there's got to be some in the chat, but if you put it in the chat, I don't see all of them. We'll go to the Q&A box. Let's see what that is. Okay, so Amanda wants to know, how many times should you follow up if you haven't heard anything back from the contact individual or church? When do you assume they're not answering because they don't want to discuss? I never assume that they're not answering because they don't want to discuss. I always assume they're just super busy. Like maybe I've caught them at the wrong time of day. Maybe they just haven't seen it. Maybe they don't even use the email that I'm
Yeah,
reaching out
but
to anymore. I don't assume that.
in our webinar, we said go for 2 weeks and then maybe
Yes,
once a month. And then
right.
I would
Yeah,
say
but I'm
after a
just
few
saying.
months, just start over again. Deb's not saying follow up indefinitely every 3 days.
No, 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 absolutely not. I'm just saying my mindset isn't, I never go there. So yeah, I would say follow up every 3 days for 2 weeks, and then maybe you might go to once a week or once a month for a little bit, and then maybe do like a final, sometimes having the wording of, hey, I'm just reaching out to you one last time to see if you might be interested. And then maybe you put them down. Maybe they're not, I don't assume they're a no. I put them down to the bottom of the list and I call them unresponsive. And then I move on to newer contacts. And then maybe in a year, I go back again. So there is an end in sight. So I love doing that every 3 days for 2 weeks, because then I can kind of know at the 2 week point whether I need to move on to someone else. So that's my answer on that.
Yeah, we vary the communication. Like leave a voicemail right after that. You send a text message to make sure they got, let them know you left a voicemail. We might, send just a text message, might send just an email, whatever that is.
Yep. Okay, Russell, you want to tackle Emily's question?
I'm not looking at the Q&As. Hold on.
She says, how would you recommend reaching out again with someone who doesn't respond to your first message after a while? Like, I know it's been 5 years since we graduated, but I wanted to reconnect and share more about my ministry. Like, when is follow-up appropriate if they don't respond initially?
Oh, we're saying every 3 days, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I would just say every 3 days. Let me look at you wrote that very well. Instead of my ministry, I would, were you going to say that? Instead of my ministry, I would say share what God is doing in, or something along those lines. And I would also say, I know it's been 5 years since we graduated, but as I was thinking about people that I wanted to share with about this, I thought of you.
I might also add some relational touch point in there too, of like, I know it's been 5 years. How are you? What have you been up to? Here's what I've been up to, and I'd love to chance to reconnect and share with it. You know what I mean? Like add a little bit of relational touch to it too. Because relationships.
Yeah. Michael, you had a question saying that did you get able to see the sign up for the app? Because I went and clicked. He's saying that he needs an invite from sign up, but without invites from the coach. Did you get that figured out? Because I went and clicked on all the buttons and it took me to the right place. Let's see. Jonathan says, what advice would you have if our organization has a no ask philosophy? We can tell our needs, but cannot ask. Can you private message me and tell me what organization you're with? And Deb.
I actually had some clients. Yeah, I had some clients who told me, they were like, their strong conviction was we don't want to make an ad, we won't make an ask, but we will share with people. So this is what they did in their invitation to partner. They basically shared what their needs were, and then they said, would you pray about how the Lord might be leading you to be part of our team? And we will follow up with you in a few days, in a week, whatever, just to see how God might be leading you. So they were able to share, we are raising $3,500 a month. They didn't make a specific ask other than, would you pray about how God might be leading you? And then they followed up and they basically just said, hey, we're just following up to see how God might be leading you in this. And then people jumped on and they made it. They're there. They're in Germany, and they've been in Germany for the last, I don't know, 6 years. So there's an ask without an ask, right? It still ended in a yes or no question. Would you pray about doing this? So that's what I would say. All right. So what is the average, Samantha wants to know, the average length of time to raise support? I've been doing volunteer missionary work while on maternity leave, and now going into full-time missions work and raising support to help support my family. I started raising from abroad 3 months ago and now hitting a dry patch, running out of contacts from back home. Is this normal? I mean, there's really no average length of time. I don't feel, it really depends on your budget. It depends on your network. It depends on how much time you have to put into it. There's lots of variables.
Yeah. It depends on your approach, and how people are responding. If they're not responding to your messages, we really want to help you figure out why that is. So hitting a dry patch and running out of contacts is normal, but we would help our clients actually work through that and get out of the dry patch. And I'd love to hear more about what a dry patch, kind of means to you. There's that. There's a discovery call link that Jessica puts in the chat. Why don't you just sign up for that, and we can talk a little bit more about that. Anna Russell says, I am struggling to connect with people based on time zones, and a lot of potential donors work during the weekdays. Yeah, that's tough. Um,
Oh, schedule send, Russell. Schedule send. You can schedule send from your email. You can schedule send if you have an iPhone, you can schedule send.
no, I
So
think
send.
she's talking about like Zoom calls.
Oh, I thought she was talking about like struggling to connect, meaning like my follow-ups. So Anna, is that what you mean? That you're struggling to get
Yeah, I mean,
appointments?
you can struggle. I mean, struggle. You can schedule like emails and things. If you're struggling to get people to meet with people because of time zones, you can do a couple of things, a few things. One, you can stay up really early. You can get up really early. You can stay up really late,
Yeah.
or you can try to schedule things on their lunch hour if that's possible. Those are my tips. What do you think, Deb?
Or even like we talk about meals, like everybody has to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So asking people, can we connect over breakfast? Can we connect
Over,
over lunch? Can we connect over dinner? Or even a coffee
yeah,
break.
yeah, yeah. What else? Um, yeah, those are good. I had a thought, but I left me.
Russell, you have to take Monica's question.
Oh, why?
Why?
Have you
Because of
guys
our new
helped
Spanish
people
speaking
get,
initiative.
oh, yeah, fully funded outside the US? I'm from Mexico. I do have contacts in the States, but would love to invite people from my country to partner with me. I have 3 people from Mexico currently supporting me monthly without me having to have asked them. That's so nice.
That's awesome.
We just put together a team of Spanish speaking coaches. 2 of them are from Argentina, and one of them is from the States but lives in Bolivia. And we are currently coaching people. We have coached people from Mexico. Our current Jessica's are currently people coaching people from Mexico. We just did 5 people from Mexico.
Yeah,
Um,
that group has finished,
we're
but we have several from
right,
Honduras, one from
yeah,
Guatemala.
right. So we're
Yeah.
coaching them in groups. Most of the coaching for people raising funds in Latin America is through group coaching, making it a little more affordable. And there is some individual coaching, but not much. But I would, if you're interested in that, because that's what we do, you can just shoot me an email. I'd love to chat with you about it, or schedule a call through the discovery call link. I'd love to talk with you about it.
And they're great. They're like going through all of our materials and then like, well, is this really culturally appropriate in our context? So they're really customizing things for not just United States fundraising, but for what's culturally appropriate in the Latin American context. And they're fantastic. All of them are wonderful.
Yeah. How do you suggest prioritizing MPD and significant fundraising while on the field? Deborah?
You gotta just do it, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I
you
think
gotta carve
one
out
of the
time.
things I think is like, okay, what are some things that I can stop doing for a season?
Yeah.
Either delegate or just put them on the back burner. And what time am I committing to that? And let's replace that with some MPD. Um, I think it's also easier if you have a plan at the get go, like um, just take an hour, couple hours, 3 hours, create a full plan of what you're going to be communicating, who you're going to be reaching out to, when you're going to be reaching out to them. And so when you do have those moments, especially if you can use Planner and sit down to Planner, you'll have, um, you'll be able to like sit down and just take the 15 minutes, take an hour or whatever. So I think those 2 things, thinking about what can I stop doing for a season to do some fundraising, and then um, let's get completely organized before we start executing anything.
I think you also could think through what distractions are in your life. So, are you like spending a ton of time on Facebook? Or maybe it's not best for you to work from home because you have small children, or lots of people end up showing up at your house. And so maybe you need to go somewhere else to actually fundraise. Or you could even think about what apps do I need to add to my life to actually make this easier for me. So something like Planner. Or do I need to set alarms on my phone? Things like that. There's a lot of different tips and strategies for how to make the most of your time.
Okay. Okay. Several care partners said years ago, don't send us any requests for money. How should we initiate a conversation about partnering with us? This would include the possibility of investing financially. I would say that is where your math appeals go. Um, I don't know, Deb. What do you think? Like, if they say specifically don't send us any requests for money, then I would, if you do have requests, then I just for those kind of people, I would just put them in a general newsletter. But if you want to do that strategically, um, like asking to make one-on-one asks with as many people as you can. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean that's tough. I mean, you want to honor what they're saying and the heart behind it, and yet you want to invite them into the blessing as well. So maybe just, I don't know what you communicate already, but maybe for a season, just communicating impact stories for a while. And when they see what God is doing, maybe then inviting them to partner in making a difference in those people's lives. So yeah, and not making it, I mean, we never want to make it about money. We always want to make it about partnership. So even to like changing your vocabulary and not asking them for support and not asking them to support you, but joining God in what he's doing. Language shifts.
How do you personally connect with each supporter, phone, Skype, etc., versus just sending weekly updates? I think you might be referring to more like a communication plan. So taking those segments that we talked about and even segment other ways as well, like based on giving levels and things like that, and just set up a plan, a routine of how you want to reach out to them, how they prefer to be contacted. We use something called the communication cycle. If you go to our blog and search for that term, communication cycle, something hopefully might come up. Also, on our website, there's a monthly maintenance checklist that will help with that as well. So when you go to our website, there's a pop-up box that says monthly maintenance checklist. But how often we connect with each person depends on how we segment our financial partners, I would say. Also, you can do that in Planner. You can set all of that up in Planner as far as like when do I want to contact people, etc.
But would you say as a rule, generally at least once a year?
Yeah,
Hopefully, like
yeah.
some you want to do twice a year, some you want to do quarterly. It really depends on their engagement level.
And at the very least, it's just like, hey, how are you doing? How can I pray for you? Simple text like that that's a long way, so it doesn't have to be super complicated.
Yeah, no, I mean you can do like a video clip, like a little video text. You could do
That's
a
good.
text with a pic, a text and a picture. You could do a handwritten card. There's so many apps. There's one called Felt app. Oh my gosh, I love Felt app.
What's
It's
it called?
really cool. Felt app.
What
It's
is it?
got beautiful cards. I mean, they're just like the most beautiful cards ever. Um, and it,
Yay.
it does cost,
Beautiful.
but it's beautiful. So anyway, I love that app. But there's lots of different things that you can do. And when you're coming back, make sure that you go to, wherever in whatever's popular in your country, for souvenirs, like little things. People love Christmas ornaments from around the world. When you're coming back, or if you have somebody who comes to visit you, send all those back with them and have a plan for getting them out to your people. So think creatively. Okay, how do you respond when someone asks how much you're raising? What I'm raising is significantly more than just my salary, but not everyone understands why missionaries need to raise a higher number. I usually say my org sets my budget, not me, but I've had a few people really press in for the total amount.
We use usually offer like a, a chart, and it's more of a vision-based pie chart. Um, I don't know. I don't know how easily accessible that resource is. Jessica has something to tell you where to find it. And we used it this year, but it's a pie chart, and you take what percentages of each section. We show them what percentages. And it's like, yeah, do you remember what the sections are?
Yeah, well, they're all based on impact, but the simplest one, we divide their budget into quadrants. And one is go, like what the expenses are for going, uh, serve, what the ministry expenses are, live, like what your living in country would be, and then thrive is kind of like your insurance, your dental, your life, your medical. I do have that I mean, I could pull up my Canva and show them what I mean, but I have to get there. Hang on just a minute.
We can
Answer the
also
next
share it
question.
as a resource in the follow-up email along with the slides.
Okay, if you want to answer the next question, I can pull that up really quick.
Struggling to get, and Russell, struggling to get face-to-face meetings. There has to be just like a diagnosis for that. Did Jessica, did Anna also just sign up for coaching? Right?
Yeah.
You're gonna fix that with your coach. So it's gonna be great. That's because there's so many steps. Like we have to evaluate and diagnose everything that's going on right now. So, any tips on how to ask your contact list for referrals? So, what we advocate for is advocacy. So, we identify 2 or 3 of your biggest cheerleaders. Identify what their gifts and their abilities are. And we sit down and ask them to partner with us through advocacy in identifying 1 to 5 people that they could personally introduce us to. It is an actual partnership meeting with the advocate. So it's not just a phone call where we say, hey, do you know a few people? But it's actual involved partnership meetings, whether that's they personally connect us via email, they set up a lunch for us to talk all together. They might have something at their home. So there are different ways that might pan out, but we're inviting an advocate to take a deeper partnership and to personally connect and advocate on our behalf, not just give us names. So that is how we approach it.
Okay, I'm ready to share. If you want me to share my screen, I can. Okay, so share. All right, so this is my Canva. So this is the pie chart. Oh my goodness gracious. Sorry, that's not what I meant to do. This is the pie chart. So basically, what we've done with Mallory's budget here is we have taken her total monthly needs and we have divided it into mission expenses for the organization, monthly in-country living expenses, then serving is ministry expenses and thriving is personal expenses. And if you want to put the descriptions underneath there, you absolutely can. There's some other ones here that we've done before where like their total needs are $8,500. So basically like going where the people are, we've taken groceries, taxes, and everyday living allow us to go where the people are. Training and personal development is disciples who make disciples. Our daily lives in Paris, housing, transportation, cost of living, and then family needs. So that's another one. And then there's one more that I have a example of. This is a $4,000 one where we've got housing, taxes, and transportation is going to the people, and then insurance is medical, dental, life is staying with the people. And then we've got meeting spiritual needs, training, personal development, ministry funds, and then building long-term relationships are the monthly in country living, food, utilities, all of that. And then they also have launch funds as well. So we try as much as we can to connect these to impact. And we would only encourage you to share this with people who are asking this. We don't want to just like share this with everyone and then have people start having the conversation of, well, I think that's too much here or that too much there. We only do this with churches and with individuals who are asking for this information.
Rex says, my daughter needs to raise $3,500 a month for ministry in Kenya and leaves in 2 months. Any suggestions? We can't get her coaching quickly enough to, to help with that, just because of our process. But I can send you a link to our online course. And if you do that and sign up for Planner, those two things could be really helpful. We also like some great guides, really exhaustive guides on support raising on our blog. So, Jonathan, which box do I check to have an initial meetup? I don't know what that means. You could elaborate. And we don't have any more questions after that one. So it's been, and we'll wait for Jonathan to wait through there. Won't say, but it's so good to be with you, and appreciate all y'all do. And thanks for letting us be a part of your lives. And hope you have a great day.
Bye, guys.